6 Russian warships close to encircle a U.S. carrier before sunrise. No missiles, no shots, just cold precision. Here's the problem we're solving. How do you hold course at 22 knots while someone tries to collapse your space? We'll break down the exact moment Delta shaved the closest point of approach under 2 miles, and why the response wasn't a fighter launch, but a Seahawk in the air and a green laser on the bridge windows. Stay to see how discipline, sensors, and one comm radio hail forced a reset without a single round fired. The water lies flat. The scope blooms. You ask why the carrier won't turn. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. At just after 0530, 6 Russian surface ships bloom onto the board and lock into a shallow arc around the carrier group. 2 ride up on the port quarter, creeping inside the fan of wake. 2 push forward to widen the mouth of the net. The last pair hang outboard as anchors. It's deliberate and tight, a slow squeeze laid on the night shift before sunrise. The carrier sits steady at 22 knots. Speed constant, course constant. Meanwhile, emissions climb. Their radars go active and stay there. You see sweep rates, side lobes, scan periods. Our ESM teams pull every pulse width and frequency and slot them into a clean log, time-stamped and tidy. The hull gets painted again and again, and we let it happen because data is leverage. Here's the dilemma.
Russia is threatening to torpedo and sink U.S. naval and Coast Guard ships. That is right.
Sanctioned tankers, Seahorse, New Power, etc. They are all stuck near Venezuela, unable to dock. European regulators say that these tankers, they are unsafe. In fact, they are unregulated, environmentally dangerous as well.
Turn early, and you give them space you don't owe. Hold course, and you risk a compression event if they keep closing. Predictable geometry beats reactive guessing. A straight line locks your CPA math. It keeps your escorts deconflicted on their lanes and denies the other side a read on panic turns. Like a quarterback staying in the pocket, you read the rush, not the noise. You don't scramble unless the lane is gone. International waters add their own rules of the road. Call regs isn't a script, but it frames intent. At sea, navies speak first with speed and course and emissions control. Words come second, so the radios stay clean. Hills are formal and neutral, bridge to bridge, range, bearing, safety language, no chest beating, no threat calls. The signal is posture, not volume. On the glass comm, cameras upgrade the picture. Long lenses track bridge wings and deck crews. No hands on mounts, no doors cracked on launchers. It's all observation, all presence. The game is to make your math obvious and your nerves boring. Every sweep, every ping, every minor drift tells you who is impatient and who is precise.
The Russian government is threatening to send our ships to the bottom of the ocean, and if they do that, we will be in World War III. Make no mistake about it.
So a Russian-linked oil tanker, part of Moscow's notorious Shadow Fleet, has been trying for days to reach Venezuela. The center of all of it is the United States, Russia, and Venezuela.
The formation the 6 ships use is a classic encirclement arc, a net that moves without touching. The 2 on the port quarter are the drivers. They press your left flank and tempt a turn. The forward pair act as the gate. They stretch the aperture and threaten to close it if you bite. The outboard sentinels hold the radius and keep you framed. It's a squeeze designed to force a seamanship mistake, an early evade, a sloppy change of speed, a lane cut that can be logged as your fault. The carrier's answer is the opposite of flare. Hold 22. Hold heading. Keep escorts on predictable offsets. Let the ESM record scan patterns and timing drift until each ship has a complete electronic fingerprint. Radars paint you? Good. Now you own their emissions for later. That's the quiet weapon here. A pristine record that survives replay in any room that matters. You feel the pressure build because that's part of their plan. You hear the other bridges on the loop, clipped and polite. You watch the wakes harden as they take small bites of angle. The CPA calculations refresh, numbers flicker, but the line holds because your baseline holds. The trap needs a flinch. You don't give it one. Mini payoff lands right there.
The news that the Russians are preparing, planning, or threatening to sink our ships comes after the capture of the Bella 1 tanker.
Now, instantly, the Russian tanker swung away and fled towards Cuba, and since then, it has tried to approach Venezuela 2 times. And then the USS Stockdale, a powerful US Navy destroyer, crossed right its path.
The purpose of the ring is to go to mistake while you turn the standoff into an intel harvest. The best tool on deck isn't a missile. It's predictability that feeds sensors without feeding panic. So you keep the pocket. You read the rush. Meanwhile, one hull breaks the rhythm and leans in 5 degrees, and suddenly the math starts to move. How close is too close when steel wakes start to cross? You feel it in your gut before the numbers confirm it. Delta nudges 5 degrees inboard. The board shows CPA slipping under 2 miles. The bridge stops thinking in minutes and starts counting seconds. Bearing drift tightens. The wake off Delta sharpens from soft V to hard knife. Your line holds at 22 knots, because that was the plan. Keep the math simple. Keep escorts deconflicted.
This was a massive move by the United States of America. It sends a message to the Russians, hey, we're not playing games with you. We are not going to let you push us around.
So now analysts are asking, is the US quietly moving to stop Russia from supplying fuel to Venezuela? The tanker is sanctioned by the US, the European Union and the UK as well. It carries Russian oil. It's part of the fleet Russia uses to dodge the sanctions.
Keep them guessing about your nerves, not your heading. The red track bleeds toward the collision bracket. Voices drop a register. You check the last 3 plots and see the same trend. Constant bearing, decreasing range. The carrier still refuses to flinch. That restraint isn't passive, it's control. You anchor the geometry so any unsafe act stands out. If Delta wants to claim routine operations, it has to put that on tape against a steady target. Escalation ladder opens. Seahawk spools on the roof. Rotor wash kicks. It lifts, climbs, and takes a tight left-hand orbit over the carrier's quarter. Optics roll hot. Hull numbers, bridge glass, mast arrays. Every detail goes into the frame. On the console, ESM narrows the aperture. Wider skin becomes fine grain. You tag pulse width.
But every time it gets close, it suddenly turns back, changes the direction, retreats its open water. This isn't happening in isolation, by the way. There is a massive rise in American military presence near Venezuela.
Pulse repetition interval, scan period drift. Each sweep tells you how their set breathes under stress. Non-kinetic trigger fires. A green laser steadies and paints Delta's bridge windows in a clear, single pulse. Legal, visible, unmistakable. The point is compliance, not harm. Then the voice goes out on the guard with calm precision. Russian naval vessel. This is United States Navy aircraft. You are conducting unsafe maneuvers in international waters. Alter course immediately to ensure safe separation. The words are exact by design. You name the act. You state the condition. You demand the fix. Why not push fighters? Because fighters shift the frame to air policing and combat air patrol.
Every time the tanker retreated, and now it is just lying in the Caribbean, just like that, unable to reach the land. Because without imported fuel, Venezuela's refineries, they are already falling apart. They cannot run.
That signals a different fight. The message here is seamanship and safety enforcement. Helicopter overhead says, we watch, we record, we can testify. Its presence, documentation, and command of the latter, spotlight first, not saber. Guidance backs this. International practice recognizes laser warnings as a non-kinetic cue when risk rises. Safety hails use tight phrasing, identity, conduct, location, intent to ensure separation. Shipboard helos fill the gap between passivity and force. They carry optics, radios, and authority without turning the page to weapons. They make a paper trail in real time. You hear it land. The room eases half a notch as Delta's wake shortens. Throttles back. Speed shelves to 24 knots. CPA ticks wider, out of the red. Numbers stop sliding and settle. The helo holds the orbit. Cameras keep rolling. ESM keeps reading. The carrier never moves off 22. You breathe, but you don't relax the plot. Delta answers in form, not heat. United States naval vessel. We are conducting routine operations. We request safe separation. That's the line they can live with on playback. A beat later, the bow comes out 4 degrees. CPA grows. 1.6, 1.8, 2.2. The ring that wanted a squeeze becomes a ring of watchers. 2 other hulls ease outboard. Another drops aft. Lanes open. How close can they get? If you hold geometry, you force them to own any cut inside 2 miles. What happens when Delta collapses under 2? You climb the ladder with a hello, a green beam, and a precise hail that pins the risk on the mover. Why hold 22 instead of turning? Because your straight line is the ruler that grades their seamanship and keeps your escorts from crossing lines they can't safely cross. By 0600, the air cools. Priority tracks fade back to routine. The wind isn't loud. It's logged. Radars, timing drift, small hesitations, each one filed for later. The lesson isn't about missiles. It's about messages that leave a paper trail and a clean wake. Mastery at sea is calm math under pressure. You gather intel, hold your lane, and force space without a shot. Non-kinetic tools do the heavy lift. Tight logs, steady helm, clear signals that document intent and control. What would you do at the con when Delta cuts in? Hold or turn? Comment your choice below. If you want more hard looks at real-world naval brinkmanship, subscribe. Subscribe and join a community that seeks to understand the realities of modern conflict. The sharpest weapon that night wasn't a missile. It was a clean logbook, a steady helmsman, and one green beam. And it left the water quiet.